Hi everyone, and welcome to part 2 of the Flood of Knowledge, aptly named by my eldest son, Colour Along. We are working out of Worlds Within Worlds, which is a book by Kerby Rosanes, and I think it might be my favourite of all of his books. I do have a soft spot for Mythomorphia, but I think this one does top it. So this is the page, as you can see, that we're working on. I hope you joined me for the first part. If not, you can go back and watch that. It is 45 minutes of colour selection and waffle before about 15, 20, 25 minutes of colouring. And this is what we got done, mainly to prove that we could do a bit of colouring before the end of that video. And I want to continue with the water today because we have an awful lot of it on this page. It pretty much is made up of books and water. So I'm thinking we should probably get the water done first and then we can concentrate on all the books and things. So yeah, there'll be a playlist for this colour along where you can watch all of the parts and things. But this is part 2. And I suppose I'll just get on with it this time. A lot of you left comments on the first part, and I'm really appreciative of that. I've read every single one of your comments, and the majority of them were really positive, and you all enjoyed the process, especially the colour selecting process. I thought I might have gone a little bit too far there with the amount of time that it took, and to be fair, I don't usually take that long picking colours, but I did want to try and use some different brands. And I think if that's the case and you're not familiar with all the different colours in all the different brands, which I don't think anyone is, you do have to have that kind of process, and I'm glad that some of you enjoyed it. Anyway, so we'll continue the water. Now down at the bottom here, these kind of tree ruffly looking things are actually big plumes of foam that are coming out of the bottom of the waterfall, as you would see on a normal waterfall. And then we've got the water sort of sluicing away down here. So we're actually going to try and colour all of that, and then also some water that we've missed off at the top here, and hopefully we can get that done in today's video. So let's just go. So I'm going to start on the foam first of all and work our way down here. And again, I'm using the technique of colouring all of the shaded areas in our darkest colour. So we're using the Prismacolor for the water. We have PC 105, 905 and 992, which are Cobalt Turquoise, Aquamarine and Light Aqua. So with the Cobalt Turquoise, we're going to find all of our heavily shaded bits and we're just going to fill them in. So I'm starting off over here and I'm going right in between like these bits of foam in the foreground to hit all of the lower bits of this bit of foam, which is sitting just behind it. And this is where Kerby has put his shading. So yeah, massive thank you to everybody who commented on the last video. It really did sort of make me feel like I was doing the right thing doing this colour along, and it's what you all want to see. I do enjoy watching colour alongs when I get the time. So I think it really is something I should try and do more of on my channel, because it isn't just colouring a page. I suppose it's helping you with certain techniques or certain perspectives, ways of looking at how to colour a page, how to choose colours and how to balance those colours on the artwork. So I guess there is a lot more kind of content within a colour along than just colouring a page. And if that's something that you would like to see more frequently on the channel, I'd love to know that as well. So again, just finding those bits of shade and shading them in. I hope everyone's well. I didn't have really any questions left underneath the comments of part 1, so I don't think I have anything to answer unless I've missed something. But if you do have any comments or questions or topics that you would like me to talk about, things you'd like me to demonstrate, please do let me know, and it gives me a little bit more stuff to to talk about in the next part, because it can get quite weird, you know, just sat here talking to myself, not really knowing what to say, and it's not really a two-way conversation. So what is this really dark bit? I guess it must just be a shadow, but it looks very oddly shaped. So yeah, I hope everyone is well. Let me zoom you in a little bit. Let me just check. Hopefully that's all on there. Yeah. Sorry about that, guys. The video cut off and I didn't realise. Hopefully that won't happen again. But I've only done, you know, a bit of the shading anyway. So, what was I saying now? I hate it when that happens. Yeah, just hope you're all well, really. Obviously, there's a lot of things going on in the world at the moment that are taking precedent over people's thoughts. And, you know, my heart goes out to everybody in the Ukraine at the moment. And I'm not going to, you know, talk in length about the happenings over there at the minute, because I know that a lot of people do use YouTube and colouring channels and things like that as an escape and a way to get away from reality for a while. So, you know, I don't want to dwell on the subject, but I don't want to completely gloss over it either. I guess I just want to say that my thoughts are with everybody that's affected by it. It's inhumane, it's evil, it's completely unnecessary and uncalled for, and I sincerely hope that it's all over very, very soon before any more destruction can take place. It's terrible. It's clearly it's terrible. And I, you know, just quickly on the subject, I saw a Instagram story from Anastasia Koldareva today, who is a Russian illustrator, and she's just obviously, for obvious reasons, absolutely distraught by what's happening. And it just made me want to, in fact, I did reach out to her by message just to say, you know, we are not blaming the Russian people. Certainly from people I've spoken to and my country's standpoint, we are not blaming the Russian people. It's not your fault. And we know that the majority of you don't wish this. It's such a hard thing to talk about. And as I said, this isn't a political channel. I don't want to go on about it, but I do want to just acknowledge it. And yeah, I'm hoping it's all over soon. Okay, so just making sure that any bits of shaded area on here are filled in. You don't have to be precise at all. Just anywhere you see these little shade flicks, just do a little scumbling sort of round overly motion with your pencil. And, you know, it'll all work out in the end. Like I say, you don't have to do any precision here at all. So we're just filling in all the, excuse me, all of the foam base areas. I'm really worried that I'm going to go off camera. I hope not. I'm sort of stretching my neck to check. Yeah, and I think at the end of the, well, certainly at the end of the water bit, we can add in some white gel pen to fluff up our froth and foam and get a few of those crisp white highlights in there to indicate the flash of sun on the water. There might be better ways of colouring this, you know, that's more, put more thought into it and colour placement and things like that, but I'm just following that shade rule, the Kerby shade rule, and hopefully it'll all work out. This bit here, not sure whether that's a break in the water. Try and figure that out, or if it's whether it's more foam. Could just be more foam. I did say that I was going to colour this break in the water here with maybe a black with some turquoise over the top. So that might be an idea if I can get a black Prisma to do that while we're looking. I'm pretty sure that this here might be attached to the water that we did before, so I'm just gonna fill that in there. And then, like I say, I might just treat this like a bit of foam. Sometimes it can be hard to sort of differentiate what's what on a Kerby picture. So just do your best. That's all you can do, and just hope that the final page and the final result will be, you know, really, really pleasing to the eye, and you won't be searching for the little details that might be incorrect or placed wrong or whatever. So don't worry about that. I want to say a big thank you to everybody who commented as well, that you love my waffle. You love the indecision and the non-organisation of it all, because that's definitely what you're getting on this channel, so I'm glad you like it. It's not going to be to everybody's taste, I know that for certain, but I do my best. My heart's in the right place here, and I might not always be the most interesting or the most engaging, but that's just how it is, and hopefully you all have fun watching you. Some of you must do. Some of you told me you do, and some of you must do because you follow me, so the time for self-deprecation has passed, even though that's all I'll continue to do. But yes, I am very, very glad that you're enjoying it. Okie doke. Just got this kind of front layer of foam to do now, and then should be able to add in some more colours. I was just looking online today, and the coloured pencil shop, I think it's colouredpencil.shop, run by Emma Kerridge, is having a seconds sale. So she has some pencils that are seconds, which means that they're not as brilliant quality as, you know, brand new pencil would be. Maybe there's something wrong with them, like the tips are broken, or there might be a slight crack in the barrel, things like that. Very lightly, what would you say? Very lightly, not broken, but you know what I mean? They're seconds. I don't know why I try and explain everything to the nth degree, because I'm sure you know what I mean. But yeah, they're seconds, and she's selling those fairly cheap on the website, so it might be worth having a look. I know there's quite a few Prisma colours on there. There are whites and blacks as well included, which are Prisma colours that are really, you know, used a lot, the white and the black. So it might be worth getting yourself a couple of them. But what else was on there? Trying to think. I think it was mainly Prismas, but there's also, you know, loads of different pencil brands on there, and they're all really fairly priced, and they're all open stock as well. So if there's been a certain pencil that you're looking for, certain colour, certain type of pencil, for instance, I'm looking for the Derwent Chinese White, and she has those on there. I'm going to get one pretty soon just to test it out, because I've heard it's really good. So yeah, definitely go and check that out if you're looking for some single pencil stock colours. There's luminance on there. She's got all sorts. This is looking good so far. yeah, I'm not really sure what this dark patch is down here, whether that's just a break in the foam. I'm just wondering if we should do that in the black / turquoise thing that we're going to do over here. We'll give it a go. So next week, me and my husband, 2 children and dog are going to get a family portrait, well, not a portrait, but family photography session. And I've never ever had a professional photography session in my life. I absolutely loathe having my picture taken, loathe it. I am the least photogenic person, and any pictures that you see of me will have definitely been chosen and selected carefully from a plethora of about 100 shots and probably tweaked and filtered and all that kind of rubbish that I always tell people, you know, is not true, and to yourself, and, you know, take more candid photos and things like that. But self-esteem, you know, makes you not want to post stuff like that. But anyway, we're going for this family photo shoot. Initially it was just going to be the boys, and I wanted some professional photos of the boys, and I've been roped in to being in the photos. So really, I don't know what to expect. I mean, obviously posing and stuff like that, I'm hoping that the photographer will just sort of literally pose me and tell me exactly what to do with my limbs and face and everything. But if anyone's got any advice about photo shoots, poses, ways to eradicate double chins and rolls, that would be great. Yeah, I don't know what I'm asking really. I mean, all the stuff that's going on in the world, and I'm worrying about a flipping photo shoot, but you know, I'm sure the photos will be lovely. And if not, I'm sure they can just put like a tree in front of me or something, a little plant pot sort of bush thing. I'll just be behind that. There we go. Have we got all the foam in? I think so. Yeah, I reckon so. So let's move on to our next colour, which is the Aquamarine. And just like we did, we're extending it now, but we've got to be careful on this bit because we actually want a fair bit of the edge of this to be left white, because of course it is foam, and sea foam is that kind of whitish colour. So we don't want to eradicate all of that completely. So always be mindful of how much or how far towards the end line that you're colouring. So obviously the bigger the area is, the more you can extend. But do make sure you are leaving a gap. Now I could of course speed this up, but I really don't want to. I want to keep it in real time, because the amount of people who've told me that speed colouring is really not very helpful when it comes to even the slightest details on a page. So I'm really going to try to not do any of this sped up and keep it in real time so that you can see exactly what I'm doing, and it may equal lots of periods of silence while I concentrate and or think of things to say, but as long as it's helping people who might be colouring along with this, which is the kind of point of it, then I don't mind doing that. So as you know, I'm a big horror fan, and the most recent film that I've watched is the new Texas Chainsaw, which is on Netflix. And yeah, I mean, it's worth a watch. It's not a ringing endorsement, is it? But yeah, it's worth a watch. Lots and lots of questions and weird plot holes and things like that, but you know, it's a horror film. You're not expecting anything brilliant and Oscar worthy. Not that everything that wins an Oscar is Oscar worthy, but you know, that's a different story. But yeah, it was worth a watch. It was a bit of fun. Probably give it like a 5 out of 10 if anyone's interested in my film scores. What have you been watching recently? This is like the number one go-to thing that I ask, you know, the question, what have you been watching on TV? What music do you like listening to? The standard sort of first date questions. Not that I've ever really properly had a first date, to be honest with you. It's a bit sad, isn't it? Let me get my violin out. Did you all have a nice Valentine's Day? Because that's just passed. I know that, you know, there'll be singles, but, you know, sometimes Valentine's Day when you're single can be brilliant, really, because you can just go out with the girls, have some fun, and think that you're not tied to anyone or anything, and you can just please yourself. And if you do have a partner and you do celebrate, how did you celebrate? Did you go for a meal? What did you do? I'll tell you what I did. I went for a carvery, which, if you don't know, is it's like the staple dinner of Britain. So over here we have such a thing called a Sunday dinner, which is the kind of dinner that we traditionally have on a Sunday, and it is what you guys usually have around Thanksgiving, I think, because you don't do Christmas dinner, do you? So basically it's a meat of some sort, chicken, beef, whatever, and mashed potatoes, vegetables, Yorkshire pudding. If you don't know what that is, look it up, and gravy. So when you go to a carvery at a restaurant, that is all laid out for you in a buffet style. And then you can go and pick your meat, you can pick your vegetables, etc. And I'm somebody that could eat a Sunday dinner every single day of the week and be happy. It's probably my favourite thing to eat, to be honest. Absolutely love a Sunday dinner, you can't beat it. Often they call it a roast dinner. So yeah, that's what I did. I went to the carvery. I loved it. So nothing fancy, no, you know, Italian restaurants or hundreds of pounds spent. Nice little carvery just up the road. And yeah, that's how I spent my Valentine's Day. Also building my youngest son's bed. He's got a new bed, so I was building that. I say new, second-hand bed. It's one of those that's up. Oh God, why am I so terrible with remembering things? I think they call it high sleeper bed. And then underneath he's got his little chair and his games console and things like that. So it's like a little den under there. And he's got LED lights. You can get them really cheap from Amazon, like a strip that goes around his ceiling. And that's what he wanted, and that's what he's got. So yeah, he's happy. Well, you know, as much as he can be. I think I've talked on the channel before about his autism and his issues. And, you know, he's growing up now, so I'm not really going to dwell on that because I don't know if he'd want me to. So, but yeah, he's pretty happy with his room. So that's all that matters. We do have to change things quite a lot because his tastes change quite a lot. But yeah. So that's what I've been doing. It's, you know, not very exciting, but... Plus, I look after my nana sometimes, go over there a few times a week. So, I've been doing a lot of that recently. She's not been too good at all. So, I've been up there a lot. Yeah. So, talking more about colouring and things, and we're moving on to the light aqua now. I've been looking at several books by an artist called Rita Berman, And I think I'm a bit late to the party because I've seen all these books, you know, plenty of times. And every single time I've had a proper look at them, I've always thought, oh, bit too detailed, a bit too much going on the page, and it just sort of like put me off. But then you see, like on Instagram and the groups on Facebook, people's completed pages and all the bits and bobs on the page that look so distracting and overwhelming have sorted themselves out when people colour them. It's really hard to explain, but every single finished page I've seen from those books is gorgeous. But then I look at the uncoloured illustrations and I get all worried again. Not worried, but like, I think, no, I don't think I can colour it. But anyway, I want to get myself a Rita Berman book, and I'm wondering which one, and I'd love for you to give me some suggestions. The one that I'm looking at the moment that's catching my eye the most is the Europa one, which I believe is locations around Europe. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Lizzie Mary Cullen's work. Do you remember those books, The Magical City? Where things just come to light as you're colouring. And it's all a bit of a mess and a higgledy-piggledy configuration at first, and you can't really figure it out, but as soon as you start colouring, you do. Everything comes together. So yeah, I'm thinking about that. I really, really don't want to buy any more colouring books. I feel like I've had too many. I've got loads. I gave loads away. I sold a few. You know, I gave a lot away, an awful lot away to family members. My little sister had loads. Charity. I've took so many books to the charity shop. Giveaways, you know, so I've really, really condensed my collection. But I saw these books and I thought, you know what, if I'm going to get any book, I think it's going to be one of those. So yeah, I would really love to hear your opinions on which Rita book I should get. So you see how I'm just leaving that edge of white here. Thick, more thick, or thick, hang on a minute, thicker. That's me, thick. Thicker than I did on the flowing water. So we've got really quite a big area of white there. I just feel like there'd be quite a lot of it, quite a lot of that white border. Now, as you blend this into the Aquamarine, as you're coming up towards the top of each foamy bit, just make sure that you're going lighter as you go towards the white foam, so it almost blends out into the white. We don't want any harshish lines. I'm so glad spring's coming. Random, but I really, really am. I love spring. It means winter's over and good things are coming. The weather has just been absolutely terrible over here recently. We've had multiple storms, very, very high velocity winds. It's caused a lot of damage and some loss of life as well. And yeah, it's just been really, it's been a really difficult couple of months actually. And I think the weather does have a big part to play in that, whether it's actual SAD, seasonal affective disorder, or whether it's just that normal sort of slump of post-Christmas time. But it feels to me that it's been quite hard. And the thing that I hate the most is the short days. Really, really don't like the short days. I hope I'm on camera here. Let me zoom out slightly. Yeah. I hate it when it seems dark all the time. It really does bring my mood down. It makes you not want to get out of bed at all. And yeah, it's quite depressing. So I'm really, really glad that that period is coming to an end now and we're getting the lighter nights. Just adding a little bit more where I've forgotten to put bits or that I haven't seen. I'm going to say that that's the foam done. But obviously, like I said, when we finish the water, we are going to come in with a white gel pen and we are going to erase all of these black wibbly lines on top of the foam, and that will give it an even cloudier, puffier sort of look. So if it's looking like little trees at the moment, that's probably why. We need to get rid of these lines basically. So we will do that. Let's move on to the water at the bottom of the page now. So again, I'm just making sure that I've got you. It's weird trying to zoom on this iPad because I can only see this bit. My hands are right at each edge of the iPad right now, but I know that there is more on the screen. So it's really annoying because I can't really gauge how much I'm zoomed in, but there we go. All right. So again, with the cobalt turquoise, let's get into all these really heavily shaded bits and colour those. I know this is like a little bit sort of boring at the moment because we're just doing the same thing on repeat, but it's necessary, it's got to be done. So I'm just going to do that. So all these little nooks and crannies here are getting the cobalt turquoise treatment. So I know there are a couple of you that are colouring along with me. I've had some messages and some comments with work in progress pictures and things, which is brilliant. It's really, really great to see that and know that you're having a good time colouring it with me. A lot of people, a surprising amount of people, have said that this page was really intimidating, and my colour along is giving them that little bit of confidence to start the page or even start the book itself. So that's great. That's, you know, that's exactly why I do this. If I can inspire and encourage you to get your books out, get your pencils out, it's just my goal, really. I'm going to leave these really heavily shaded bits because I think I will want to go over those with some black, with a light layer of black, because I just feel like they're just different to what we're doing here. Kerby's got another book coming out after the one that's coming out this year. I think the one that's coming out this year is called Mythic Worlds or something like that. And then he's got another one coming out the following year called, I think, Other Worlds, which I'm not sure what the theme is going to be, but it's going to be brilliant, whatever. Very, very busy, isn't he? I don't know how he has all these ideas, and it's just, it's with any illustrator really, where do they get their ideas from? And whenever I've got a blank piece of paper in front of me, completely blank out myself. I never know what to draw or what to attempt. So it's really amazing, the originality of these illustrations and the sheer number of books and pages that he's done. Speaking of books, Colour with Claire HQ, aka My Dining Room, has received a wonderful donation from a lovely lady called Irene, who watches the channel. And the donation is several colouring books, brand new colouring books, that have been shipped to me, and I can use them however I wish, and I'm going to use them for giveaways. So there's some really, really good books in there. I know that Mythomorphia is in there. I know that there are some Tomislav Tomic books in there. What else? There's quite a few like geometric patterns, mandalas, things like that. I'm trying to remember what else. There's loads of really good books. And I'm, like I said, going to be giving those away because I think it's a good thing to do, that everybody should get the chance to win some colouring books. And like I said before, I certainly don't need any more books, apart from probably that Rita Berman one. So yeah, I'm going to be figuring out how to format a giveaway so that everyone has a chance at winning a book. Like I said, there are quite a few. There's 2 boxes full, and I think there's another box on the way. So this lady has been super generous. Can't thank her enough. And it's all going to go back to you. So once I've sort of figured out how I'm going to do this giveaway and how I'm going to separate the prizes and things like that, I will definitely let you know. I don't know when it's going to be. Hopefully not too long. I just need to give it a little bit of thought to how I'm going to do it, because there are loads of different titles, and how are people going to put their name in for a certain title, or am I just going to do it random? I don't know. Figure it out. But that'll be on the channel soon. Massive thanks to Irene for that. Irene did say, you know, use them as you wish, use them for tutorials, which, you know, to be fair, maybe there's 1 or 2 in there that I can use for a tutorial, or give them away, or do whatever I want with them. So we're all going to benefit, or at least however many books there are is however many people are going to benefit, because I'm going to give them away. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Really exciting. There's also a Daria songbook in there as well, The Night Voyage. Remember that one? Beautiful. It's almost that beautiful you don't want to colour it. Again, it can be really intimidating. Wouldn't it be good if we could have some music on here and not get copyrighted for it? I always have music or YouTube or a film or something on when I colour, so it's very odd to me to be sat here in silence. Wonder if it might be an idea to do the next part of this as a live. What do you reckon? Just so that I can talk to you at the same time. I know that not a lot of you will have the same time zone as me, so it might be that you can't see it, that you only see it as a pre-record afterwards, but it might be fun if you can get on there and come and talk to me so I'm not talking to myself, and then you can shout things at me that I forget, and it might be fun. What do you reckon? It's also, you know, got the risk of internet shorting out and things like that, so, you know, it's not without its foibles, but let me know what you think. More than happy to. Gonna give this a quick sharpen now. Watch your ears. A lot of people have asked me, and have asked me in the past, what electric sharpener I use. Now, it is called a Sunrise Pro. I'll show you it. It's this one here. Got a little Colour Cave sticker on it. And I bought it from Amazon a few years ago, and I cannot find it at all on Amazon. Can't find the previous listing or anything. So it's gone. But if you can see any sort of similar Chinese-y type product like this, because I'm sure it's made in China, and there's probably loads of different versions of it, then it's got a hole in the top, it's got the shavings pot on the side that you can remove, and it's got this setting here where you can change the tips of your pencils. On the back it has the power outlet, and then you can also battery operate it as well. So that's what it looks like. Hopefully you can find like a Chinese made equivalent or whatever, but the actual one I use is unfortunately not there anymore. and it's a really, really good sharpener. I've never ever had to try and change the blade or anything, and I have been using it for years now. But I don't know whether all electric sharpeners are like that. I think they are, in general, the best sharpeners if you can get one. And it takes all of the stress out of sharpening, you know, the on your hands and things like that. So I would definitely recommend that you do get an electric sharpener if you can. And I believe that the blade is like called a helical blade or something. It goes around vertically. Yeah, so I think that they're pretty good. As for manual sharpeners, I do have a couple of manual sharpeners. This one's really good. Look at the state of it. It's called a Swordfish, and it's this one that goes round and around. So you put your pencil in there, you have to press the button to get the pencil in, and then you start to twist, and as you twist, the pencil will get sharpened, and then your receptacle is at the bottom. But you know what? Some of the best sharpeners are the really cheap metal ones. They can work really, really well for a long time. So, yeah, and some people use a knife, and I've never ever been able to figure that out. Like how you use a knife to sharpen. Like, I get the concept, but every time I try and physically do it, it doesn't work. So, yeah, I understand that that's what most artists use to sharpen their pencils. You know, proper artists use a blade. But I must not be a proper artist because I can't get the hang of it. Right, this bit here is a rock. So I'm just sort of wondering if these bits are little rocks showing through as well. But it doesn't look like it to me. The angle looks a bit wrong, but I could be wrong myself. I don't think this is a rock. But it might be. It might be. I don't know. Let me know if you think that these are rocks. Yeah, it must be because it's got darker shading. And I was wondering, like, why is that so much darker? They've got to be rocks, haven't they? Because we've got a big rock here, a big rock there, and a big rock there. So probably I will colour those as rocks. If you've already done this page and you know what's what, then you can tell me. More questions that I seem to get quite frequently on the channel, might as well do that, answer those now, is what backdrop do I use? People ask me what kind of background is this, and this is simply some very, very nice wrapping paper. And I usually get mine from TK Maxx. I think you guys in America have it. TJ Maxx, maybe it's the same thing, maybe it's not. But that's where I get it from. They have some really, really gorgeous wrapping paper designs, gift wrap. And I just go and buy a roll of that, use that, and it's really good because you can change it whenever you want. And it's sort of disposable, so it doesn't matter what you do to it. It's not like you've got a plastic or one of those mats or whatever that costs a lot of money. So yeah, wrapping paper. You can also use wallpaper, and if you go into your local B&Q or hardware store, if they have a wallpaper area, you can usually take samples, and that's enough. That would be enough just to fill a desk for a backdrop. So I hope that helps. I would definitely recommend that you use something matte and not too shiny, so that you're not getting like the gloss, the glare of the gloss if you have an overhead light like me. So I do try and get them quite matte, flat looking ones. But gift wrap's a good idea because it comes in so many lovely patterns. And like I say, it's disposable, so it's easy to change when you've had enough or it's tired and you need to change it. What other questions and FAQs do I get asked? Usually get asked what white gel pen I use. So as you'll know, I profess my love for these Arteza gel pens, although as I've used them, you know, over time, they don't seem to be as good as they were when I first got them. They don't seem to be as flowy. So yeah. Also, we have the Uniball Sino, but again, they can be quite temperamental. White gel pens they just are. And as much as I love to use them, they cause me enough stress when the ink's not coming out properly that it sometimes makes you wonder if it's worth it. But yeah, the Arteza ones are the best I've tried so far. As I say, over time, they seem to have become less good or less reliable. So that's the white gel pen. What else do I get asked? Favourite pencil set is another really common question. As you all know, I absolutely love my Prismacolors because they're so easy to blend that it takes nothing, no effort. And for someone like me who's very impatient and likes to get things done and not have to wait around for layers and things like that, that's ideal. However, there are so many good pencil sets now, it's very difficult to choose a favourite. Obviously, you've got your artist grade pencils, which some people would argue are not made for colouring because they're, you know, light, fast, and they're made for proper artists. I'm saying that word proper artists again, but I don't subscribe to any of that nonsense. I think you should just use and enjoy whatever you want to use and enjoy. But there's also some really, really good cheap alternatives as well. There's some really good budget pencils out there. I just reviewed the Starjoy. Again, you know, really good pencil. Quite hard and oil-based, but really good. As for other materials, I'm sort of really quite obsessively getting into Copic markers, which is a very expensive thing to be obsessed with getting, believe me. So I don't have anywhere near the full set yet, but I do have quite a few, and I just really want to use those more. So I think what I'm going to do next time we do a colour along is do a marker colour along, because they're all pencils usually, aren't they? And we don't really see a lot of marker colour alongs. And I have done a few alcohol marker videos in the past, but it might be nice to do that, you know, to work with a different medium. And there are so many colours. I've got so many different colours, different sets, and things like that, that it would be really, really nice to get them used. And again, it's like that thing I was saying on part 1 about worrying about using expensive materials. You just can't worry about it. It's hard, I know, because that's how I feel about the Copics, but they're no use sat there, and eventually they're going to dry out. So you either get your money's worth out of them or you don't. So I would love to know, I know we're kind of early on in this colour along, but I would love to know what you would like to see me colour with alcohol markers in a future colour along. I'm thinking more like an Etsy illustration that I can print on marker paper than in a colouring book, because colouring books are not made for alcohol markers generally. So any kind of Etsy illustration that you've seen, and I tell you what, I haven't got it printed out, but I've just purchased a A5 colouring page / digital stamp of conkers. So I want to try and show you how to do conkers in alcohol marker, really smooth, shiny conkers, as a tutorial. So I've just bought that, so that might be one that you see on the channel, or it will be. Alcohol markers are fairly generic, ink-wise. So, you know, if you've got an alcohol ink, it probably is as good as the next brand. Obviously, some formulations have a little bit more transparency. Copic markers are generally quite transparent, and some brands are a little bit heavier on the colour. But I think the main draw for the Copic markers is the brush. I think that's the main reason why people buy them, because I mean, you know, the brush, you can't get better than it, really. It's a beautiful Japanese nib, and not only that, but you can refill them, you can change the nibs. This isn't a one and done product, so you know, you can keep the same marker for years upon years. And obviously they've got quite a high quantity of ink inside them, especially the sketch markers. I mean, the Chow, these ones here, have less ink than the sketch, and I generally do prefer the sketch because they've got the names and numbers right on the ends, whereas these haven't, so I can't quickly see what I'm dealing with. And I also think they feel better in the hand as well. And of course you do get more colours with the sketch than with the Chow. I think there are 358 colours in total on the sketch, and I think the day that I own all 358 colours is the day that I will act like I've won the lottery, basically, because that is like a goal, to own all of the Copic markers. You don't necessarily need to, though. There are a lot of colours that you can blend within different families in Copic markers, so you don't necessarily need every single one. But, you know, full set syndrome strikes, doesn't it? But I'll keep on getting them a bit at a time, and you never know. Hopefully we will get there. I've had some lovely donations. People have donated amounts towards Copic markers, which has been just incredible, helping me achieve that goal. And, you know, as soon as I do have have those, and even before that, I will be really, you know, interested in doing some Copic marker tutorials on the channel so that we can all benefit from that. But yeah, any alcohol marker brand will do. Even people I've seen use Sharpies and blend Sharpies, but I think when you get into the sort of higher end alcohol markers, the blends do become easier. You've got more of a colour range, so that you've got those in-between colours to make the blends more seamless. Like I say, you just got better quality of ink, and those nibs as well really do help when it comes to blending. I think the Ohuhu markers are probably next in line after Copic. But I mean, maybe not in quality and expense, because you'd be looking at something like the Winsor & Newton Pro marker, but I think where colour range is concerned, the Ohuhus are a really good alternative to the Copics, because they also have brought out a range with the brush marker tips. So I don't know how the brush compares to the Copic brush. I don't own any Ohuhu markers. I haven't tested them, so I can't tell you. But if you are looking for a larger range of markers and you just cannot stretch to Copics, which is completely understandable, have a look at the Ohuhus. They're expanding their colour range all the time, and they do have a fair amount of different sets, so I'm sure you'll find something that you're looking for. But yes, anyway, I think we may have completed this part of the water, or at least this colour. I've just realised I've left some foam down here, so I'm just going to fill that in. Yeah, I do think that these must be rocks. Sometimes it just takes a minute for me to figure things out. It's probably glaringly obvious to you guys watching. Okay, so I reckon I've got all the bits of dark shading that we need to do, so we're going to come in again with the Aquamarine, and I promise we'll get onto a different colour scheme soon. Now for this, it's all a bit all over the shop because of the way that the water's running, so I'm just going to take my best guess at this, to be honest. You know, colour placement and things. I think just as long as you sort of try and follow the flow a bit and leave some white, you won't go far wrong. But this really is just like a guesstimate of where to put colours. I'm just doing my best. Yeah, it's kind of awkward, this bit. It's difficult for me to explain where to put the colours, which is kind of the point of the colour along, but I don't even know if I'm colouring them in the right way. So, like I said, as long as we've got some sort of slithers of white running through it, we should get away with it. And hopefully the page as a whole will make an impact to the eye that sort of detracts from checking for all these details and placements and things. Another thing I wanted to say about the colours that we've chosen is that I think we need a third colour, and it's been suggested to me as well by a couple of viewers that the purple that I showed you at the start, I don't know if I've still got the thing, hang on. Yeah, you know when I was swatching out and I didn't know whether to do purple or orange or what, I think we need purple in here because I just don't think two colours are going to cut this page. It's going to look quite odd if every single book is orange. So I think we need to bring in a purple. And the reason why I'm bringing in the purple, if we just have a look at the trusty old colour wheel, is that we are using a blue-green at the moment, and we're also using a red-orange, which are direct opposites on the colour wheel. So we've chosen that for contrast. Now that means, because we've done direct opposites, we can't choose like a triangle of colours or a rectangle of colours or what have you. So we need to go between the two colours that we've chosen, and the direct betweenies are violet and yellow. Now, thinking about it, if we used yellow, we're going to have an awful lot of very similar shades, because we're going to have a sort of an orangey yellow as our lightest colour for the red oranges. So we really need to go with something that's completely different, and that is why I think we should go with a violet colour. So we are going to introduce a third colour into our palette, and I'm really going to not take that long choosing the colours this time. But I'm not going to let them be either Castle Arts or Prismacolors. I'm going to choose them from a different brand. And I might even throw it out to you guys. So that might be a good idea, really. If you have an idea for a really beautiful 3-colour violet blend in any pencil brand that I have that isn't Prismacolor or Castle, let me know, and that's the one that we'll use if I get enough, you know, votes or whatever to be for me to choose one from there. So let me know in the comments below if you have a really, really good violet blend. Maybe polychromos, even though when we tested pencils on this book, the polychromos didn't really play nicely because the paper's too smooth. So maybe choose something that's a bit more on the waxy side, but you know, we can make it work, whatever. And hopefully I'll get enough comments to give me some good ideas. So yeah, I definitely want something that's sort of straight down the middle violet, not red violet, not blue violet, just a true violet. See, I'm really struggling with knowing where to put this aquamarine. This bit does not follow the Kerby shade technique very well. Also got to thank a lot of you for commenting on the video, part 1, telling me the words that I forgot. Because I was trying to say how doing the channel and colouring and the tutorials and speaking and communicating with all of you is really good for me, for my blank. I couldn't remember what I was trying to say, or I couldn't grasp the word, and everybody chipped in with the right words. So words such as well-being, mental health, general feeling of, I see I've forgotten it now, general feeling of achievement, and it just really bolsters my emotional well-being myself. So thank you for helping with words. My eldest son has his mocks this week. Mock exams are what they sound like, really, for those of you in other countries. They're little practice exams for the end of school. So in this country, the end of school is when you're 16, and then you move on to college, or you move on to 6th form, which is like extended school. And before you have your main final exams, you have mocks to do some practice papers from years past. So that's what my eldest has started today. I think his first one was German, and he's got 2 weeks of mocks, and then he'll do his actual GCSEs in May. So lots of hard work for him. Don't like the thought of exams and tests, never have. even though I was quite academically good at school, I just think tests don't make the person. Test results don't, you know, mean a lot at all, really. Anybody can learn facts. So I think it's more about the individual than tests, and I'm sure a lot of you would agree, even teachers agree. But it's just that the way that the academia is that you have to follow this curriculum and you have to know certain things, even if you are never going to use those things in your daily lives. It's completely far and away from what I do with my youngest, which is more concentrated on life skills. So things that you definitely would need to do and know to function as an adult human. But still, obviously, very, very, very proud of my eldest Shane, because he is so good. He's so good at all that kind of academic stuff, and he just knuckles down and gets on with it, and fantastic. And he is going to go to college. He's already been accepted provisionally, and I'm really excited for him. I loved college. I thought it was far, far better than school, even though now I look back and I wish I was back at school, because I would have done things a lot differently, but I think we all would, with the wisdom of age. Yeah, but college was great because it was like school, but you wanted to be there and you didn't get treated like a kid, and you did what you wanted to do rather than a plethora of subjects that you had no interest in. So yeah, really excited for him. He's going to be doing game development, so I'm hoping that he's going to become like this millionaire, this millionaire game developer. Because there's billions and billions of pounds in the games industry. And I was reading about it with him the other day, and it's an incredible area to get into if you can. Obviously, it's really saturated, but yeah, I'm really excited for him. I think he's... Oh, did you hear that squeak? That squeak was my hot water bottle and the acrylic chair that I'm sitting on. It wasn't anything any more insidious than that. Yeah, so I'm really, really excited for him. So I think we might be coming to the end of the water. Obviously, we've got to add a bit of light aqua in. And as you can see, I'm just really not thinking about this colour placement whatsoever. So I feel like I can't really give you a full tutorial of how to do it, because I'm just scribbling it here, there and everywhere. So you do the same and cross your fingers that it'll turn out okay, because I'm sure it will. Need to sharpen it. So I don't know where you guys are in the world. I know that the majority of my viewers are from the USA, and then it goes, I think, UK, Canada. So have you got snow at the moment? Because I'm in touch with a viewer in Oklahoma. We have a little pen pal thing going on, and she has some snow at the moment, and it is really, really cold over there. And you know, me just being this naive, you know, not knowing anything about geography and climate in the world, I thought, well, how is it snowing in Oklahoma? Surely that's one of the really warm southern states. But nope, they got snow. So yeah, how is your weather? Really interesting topic. How is your weather? This is why I think we should do the next part live, so that it isn't me talking about dull subjects. Right, I think I'm done with the Aquamarine. Let's get our light aqua and just do a very little bit, leaving that white all the time, because I think that's going to be really important, to leave the white kind of sluicing of this water. So basically just colour everything you haven't coloured yet, but leave a bit of white. That's the only way I can describe it. Because I think, again, we might even go in here with the white gel pen, get rid of some of these black lines, make it look slightly more natural. I'm being quite rough with this because I just don't feel like it needs a lot of precision. So I don't know whether I've mentioned before, but I barely ever watch my videos back. And I was watching part 1 back the other day to check something, and oh God, don't you just hate your voice on videos? I know you're all going to say, oh, your voice is lovely, but don't you all hate your own voice? It's like something, there's just a switch that flicks and it's like cringe. But yeah, I don't watch them back often at all. People do ask me that, but no, I don't. I have noticed one thing that really annoys me is that I go up in pitch at the end of a sentence, and I don't know why I do that. And now I'm consciously trying not to do that because it annoys me just to listen to it, and it's me that's doing it. If you haven't noticed that by now, by some miracle, then you definitely will now have mentioned it. It's probably going to ruin your viewing forevermore now. So you see how I'm just filling in some of the white, but making sure there is still white between. Best you can do, really. Colour Me Stress Free, Debbie, a channel on YouTube, is doing a Kerby Colour-a-thon this month, which is part of the reason why I chose a Kerby illustration. So if you would like to go over to her channel or check the tag, I think it's Kerby-a-thon, something like that, you can see everybody's work so far. So I'm doing this as part of that, as well as wanting to do a Kerby one for a while. Have we ever done a Kerby colour along on this channel? I know that I did a tutorial of a Kerby page with a fish on it to show the rays coming through the ocean, but I don't know whether we've done an actual Kerby colour along. Done a couple of Johanna Basford colour alongs. What else? A couple of individual page type ones, Etsy type things. Yeah, if you've got any suggestions for future colour alongs, do let me know. Like I said, I really want to use my markers and do an alcohol piece. Okay, so if there are any glaring white areas that are maybe a little bit too thick, or just, you know, just glaring out at you there, use a really light hand with your Aqua, light Aqua, and just go over that a little bit, just to soften them slightly. But we do definitely want to keep some pure white on there, just to enhance the contrast really and make it look poppy. So we've just got to do the water at the top, and then I think we can come in with our white gel pen and do those details, and I reckon that'll be it for part 2. And we can start on part 3 with the oranges and the purples that you guys are going to choose for me. So do remember to leave all of these different things that I've asked you to leave in the comments, and we'll get it done. I don't know what time. Oh my god, that squeak. What time are we on now? We're on 1 hour and 4. So I'm trying to keep these around the hour mark if possible. So I'm just going to kind of rush a little bit. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. Now let's do the water at the top that we missed. So again, I'm going in with dark first. So we've got the cobalt turquoise. So we've got a little bit of foam up here. We'll fill in the shady bits. And any kind of really dark shady bits you can see, just fill them in. Oh, that's a book. I've just gone over a book, forget it. Any dark shady bits. I'm rushing nicely, so I'm making mistakes. Try not to rush. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how long the video is. That's another rock there. I'm just taking a little look back just to make sure that we aren't missing anything. I think that this is also water here. Just coming around that rock. Yeah, and this is a bit of foam as well. Okay, and then in with the Aquamarine. Again, just, that's the book again. Again, just pulling out the colour, extending it a little bit. Had enough of colour in this aqua now, haven't you? I'm sure I'll have enough of colour in books as well by the time we've got the end of it. Okay. So I'm just going in with the darkest colour. If there's any bits sort of underneath an overlap of water, I want to make sure that that's coloured in as well. Kind of like shading underneath something. I think that's about right for now. I'm going to obviously come back to it with fresh eyes next time and see if there's anything I've missed, but pretty happy with that. So just adding in the last little bit of aqua now. Okay, pretty happy with that at the moment. Like I say, I might come back in and have another look, but I think that's the water done. Now I need to do that little bit of dark area, don't I? So I need to find a black. Bear with me. Okay, I've got a little Prismacolor black, and what I want to do is just do a little layer of black around the break in the waterfall here, where the book has broken the waves. And then I'm going to go over it with the cobalt turquoise so that it's darker than all of the other, straight on the book, than all of the other cobalt turquoise, but it's not really, really black. Can you hear my kid jumping out of his bed? I told you it was a high sleeper. You just heard a massive bang then, it's him jumping off of it. So it's a little bit darker than the rest, but it's not black. Okay, so just in case there are any bits of foam that you've missed, I can see a little bit of foam down here that I've missed. We can just go straight back into those and fill them in. And once I've sort of done this book, we'll tidy that area up a little bit. But I reckon that's good for now. So white gel pen. I actually found this white Signo gel pen in my bedroom today and I brought it down. Let me do this on the back actually. That's pretty good. Let's see how it goes on our coloured pencil. So what I want to do is definitely fluff up these bits of foam first. So if I just go across the edges of this foam in little circle motions and get rid of the black lines as much as I can. Hopefully we're going to have a fluffy little foam. See, this is going already. It's really annoying. Let's try the Artisas. Okay. Trying to find an Artisa 1.0 because that's the thickest one, but I don't think I've got any left. Is that one? This might be a 1.0. Yep. Right. So coming right on the edge, getting rid of the black lines, but doing it in a sort of swirly way. So you are just doing this kind of motion. Because we just want it to look a little bit rough. We definitely don't just want to go over the lines. We want to froth it up a little bit. If you have no reliable gel pens, you can always use some white gouache or acrylic paint and a little paintbrush. So I think covering up the black lines does make a difference to the realism of it. Not that it's a realistic page anyway, but I do think it makes a difference. What do you think? Can you see how much more reliable this Artisa gel pen is to the Uniball? Definitely the thicker ones as well. I think the thinner Artisa gel pens are a little bit more temperamental. It's looking good so far. Like I said, I think once we've got the orange on there, it's going to start to make the page really come together. So I can't wait for that bit. Just be as rough as you like with this. The rougher the better. So we're just trying to create that fluffy, natural edge to the foam. You can do little bits of sort of spray and things like that here and there. Just little dots and dashes and squiggles. Not, you know, on every single bit, but just to show that kind of spitting of the sea and the froth. Sometimes I just pat my finger over the white while it's still wet, just to soften the dots a little bit. We don't want it to be too noticeable. Also make sure that your frilly edge is not just going upward of the line, it's also coming below the line a little bit as well. A little trick I learned doing Kitten Clouder tutorial. So, because that was kind of very similar to this actually, with the crashing waves. So just definitely bring your froth sort of down a little bit and then bring it up a little bit and just make it look really rough and organic. And bring some of it right down. That will kind of further enhance the look as well. So I'll do these bits of the edge when we've done the books, because I don't want to like put white on the books and not be able to colour them properly. So just stick to the bits that are in the centre for now. There goes the bell. I think someone's going to answer it for me. So I'll just dot a little bit more on the edges there. Do some little splashy foamy bits. That's it really. So I don't really feel like I've shown you an awful lot in this part that isn't obvious. But hopefully you got something from it anyway. Okay, so just a few more bits over here that I've missed. Just going to bring this down a little bit. Like I said, I'll do the bits around the books when I've done the books, so I'll try not to forget that. I reckon that's pretty much done for now. What I'm going to do as well is add a little bit of white into the actual waterfall itself. So if there are any bits, again, I can't really tell you how to do it, but if there are any areas where you think this would work, you might not want to do this part, it's optional. But do you see how the skipping of the white gel pen is actually helping on this? Because I don't want it to be sort of really perfect lines. I just want it to be bits and splashes and splodges of foam and spray and just that kind of look. So if you do have a temperamental gel pen, it might be a good time to get it out. It's just little bits here and there, and I think it just adds that extra little bit of something. See, if we're just looking at this part now compared to the rest, I think you probably agree that this bit looks better now that we've got a bit of white on it, hopefully. Just sort of go up and down, let it fall where it wants to fall. Try and keep it fairly linear. I'm just using the side of the ballpoint now to make it even more skippy across the page. There are certain areas on the foam, the line that I've tried to erase, where I can still see bits of line, but that can come at the end when we do our touch-ups. We can just see if there are any little bits that have been missed and would look better filled in. Really liking the look of that. Hope you are too. Hope you don't think I've just ruined it. Try and make some bits, you know, a little bit whiter than others if you, you know, just to give it contrast. So if there's any bits that just look a little bit, not like there's not enough, just give it a little bit of a thicker white just to have a bit of difference on the page. Like you can get to the point where you're just doing these little scratchy bits because you're going too fast like I was then, but make sure that you have got some defined bits of foam that are quite opaque, and then the rest can just sort of fade into the background. See, I think that's made a world of difference. Yeah, really, really pleased with that. And again, at the top, just do some white lines. Kerby's actually put some black lines in here, so you could just go over those. Just do some white lines here and there, horizontally, just to break it up a little bit and show little distant bits of foam just peeking at the top. We don't want anything too detailed, it's too far away for detail. We do have some foam up here, don't forget, but I'm not going to do the outlines of that foam yet because we're up against the books, so I'll do that next time. Just add a little few dots and spits and sprays. One last thing I guess I want to do is this line, the water line where it comes over, is just fill in that a little bit to show separation. Squeak. You will not find me without a water bottle in the cold months, I'm telling you that. I'm sure I'm doing some damage to the organs in my back because I always have a hot water bottle on my back. Don't tell me. If you're medical and you know, don't tell me. I don't want to know. I'd rather keep warm. Right. Yeah, I think that's made a good difference as well. Just separating that bit at the top, adding a little bit of frothy foam to the edge. Yeah, I do think that was a good idea. So I'm just going to do that sort of most of the way across. And then I think we're done. I think we're done for part 2. Yeah, I like that. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I don't think it's been as much fun as the first one. But I hope you've enjoyed the waffle again and the colouring, which is what you're here for. So yeah, like I said, any questions, queries, comments, anything you want, just let me know. I'm just going to do a bit down here as well. And we will cover them in part 3. Don't forget to leave me your suggestions for a lovely violet blend. And there we are. So I'll zoom you out. Is that enough? Anyway, hope you've enjoyed watching. Leave your questions below. I am going to add some spits and spots of white gel pen into this bit as well, so it's not going to, you know, look the same as this at the end, but we'll do that all another time. So thank you very, very much for watching, and I will see you in part 3.